friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Eva Diva for Eva. Today we have another challenge for you guys during one of our favorite times of year, the spooky season of October. Now last year we were in the same exact spot when we recorded our pumpkin spice video, which was so much fun.
I was bald. You probably
We need to call
noticed.
this like Levy's Lounge or
Levy's Lounge.
Levy's Lair. No, that's not
Levy's
But it's always in like October, so Levy's, I don't know.
So right now we have gotten together because originally I was going to try to orchestrate an idea where we do something sort of like we did with the Easter video where we talk about our favorite Halloween treats, but surprisingly enough, Adam came up with a really good idea and I couldn't help myself. I really wanted to do it. And so today we are doing it. Today we're going to be sharing our favorite or whatever story we can come up with, spooky story that we would share around the campfire if we had one, but we don't because we're in Levy's lair. So we're going to have each of our stories and we're going to have this lamp under us as we tell our spooky story. Mwahahaha. So you guys ready to tell your stories?
Yep. I should have made some coffee.
I mean, it's not too late.
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna set up and we'll be right back, guys.
I gotta take out that trash actually.
Bring it out a little bit. Yeah, right there.
So
Sounds
everyone
good.
has to start theirs with "It's a dark and stormy night" or something
No,
like that.
that's not how it works.
No, just to do a running gag.
Fine. Okay.
You have to say it in your creepy voice.
Yeah.
I don't have a creepy voice.
Yes, you
I
do.
just talk like this.
So what did I have to say? It's a dark and stormy night.
If you want. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It's
Do
a
it.
dark and stormy night.
Okay. And start your story.
It was a dark and stormy night. The end. Okay. But no, for my real story. I can't do this. Okay.
We are around the campfire. We are all anticipating your story. Action.
A long time ago. I can't. Hold on. I can't do that.
The galaxy far, far away.
One day, I had a friend. This is too serious for me. I can't keep a straight face.
Do the best that you can. You're telling a monologue.
You know what? I don't have practice with this all the time, okay? I had a friend. No, that's what I was.
This would be a really.
I had a friend.
That's why I keep on saying that.
Well, you're getting plenty of blooper reel.
Do not use this in your blooper. This is a very creepy story that is true, that happened. I had a friend and we had a lot of things planned one day. And we went to her house, I picked her up. We had a lot of things planned. So she came out, we got into the car. We were going to do different things like mall and movies and food, and we were just gonna have a great day. So 2 hours in to our event and she can't find her phone. And it doesn't seem that harmful, but we were searching and we were looking in her purse. We went back to the restaurant that we were just at and we couldn't find it. So I decided to call it. Well, it rang, and someone picked up. But there was just heavy breathing. And then they hung up. And then we tried again. And I called, and it rang. And then there was this raspy voice at the end, like a little giggle, and then hung up. Rang the phone again, but nothing picked up. Rang it again, no one picked up. So we sort of just gave up and we're like, well, maybe we'll try again tomorrow. So we went home, went into her house, and there was her phone where she left it near her nightstand. The end.
Whoa!
Hey, did you make that
That was creepy!
up? Did you make that up?
No,
Cause
I
that's
took it.
twisted. Holy crap! I'm scared.
They're under nightstand.
I didn't know you had that in you.
Adam's scared.
Hey, I have a question.
I'll go next. Is it my turn?
Yeah, you should go. Okay, so Adam, whenever you're ready, you can go.
This is not a story for children,
Sorry.
but only for those who can handle it, which may not be those in this room. So please be prepared for what I may say. It may scare you. It all started when there was a 7-year-old boy named William. And William was from a small town in Florida, and he had never been to a place with a basement. Well, one day, William's parents decided that it was time to go to Pennsylvania to see his grandparents for the first time ever. Well, sorry. It's kind of sad, really, what's about to happen.
You laugh when you're...
But William decided, cool, if my parents are going, I'm gonna go. Time to meet my grandparents. So they got on this plane, and everything seemed a bit off on this plane. Everything was kind of going wrong, but nothing major. So they finally land. They're all very tired, and they get into this cab to go to their grandparents' house. And the guy was very nice to them, very uplifting, made them feel a lot better after the flight that they had. Well, they came to their grandparents, and all the lights were off inside of the house, but there was one little flicker coming from the basement. So William's father, William Sr., thought he'd go check. So he goes down first into the basement. About 20 minutes go by. Nobody comes back. So William's mother, Willette goes down to
What a name.
I forgot her name, so I made that up. Anyways, Willette goes down to the basement to check on her husband and doesn't return. After about 20 minutes, William's there. He has a decision to make. Should he go down to see if his parents are down there, or should he not? And as he steps towards the basement, he hears these crawling things in the bushes near him. And so he looks over, and there's 2 giant tarantulas running towards him. And so, out of fear, he runs down to the basement. Well, in the basement, that little flicker was the tarantulas. It had gotten them all. The end.
Hey, Adam, have you ever been to a spooky campfire session?
No, I haven't. I also just made that whole story up. As I was going, I just kept going, and then it had no ending, so I made it up.
Good job.
He still has to do his dark and stormy night thing.
But
It was dark and stormy.
it wasn't. It was a nice night.
No, you have to... We're doing a running gag.
Like, say it in your creepiest voice, that
With the
line.
lights off, hold on.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Okay.
My story stunk.
Adam, you had a lot of potential.
You really did too. You're like,
Then you said tarantula.
Suddenly, spiders.
Should I redo it? I could have had a better
No, it was
ending.
perfect. It was perfect the way it was.
You could have done a better ending. Tarantulas flicker? It doesn't even make sense.
I had a good idea. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Let me go again. But I want to pick. You can clip it. Pick up from after the flicker.
Okay, sure. Maybe I will.
So they saw this flicker coming from the basement. All the lights were off. They didn't know what to do. What they did next was very important because out of the woods, they could hear a ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I love you.
This story sucks, bro. That's all I got. Forget it.
I love it. Oh, thank you. This story is a story that used to haunt my dreams when I was a child. This is the story of the stuffed dog. And there was a young boy named Theodore who was visiting his grandmother's house. He hated his grandmother, but his parents forced him to go. His grandfather had died recently and his grandmother was very lonely. She needed someone to keep her company. Theodore couldn't stand the old lady. She bored him with her endless talks and consistently asked him to do chores, and she insisted on giving him disgusting kisses on the cheek, and she smelled like pee. That's reality, folks.
Grandma's a smell like pee.
Hashtag goals.
I was not expecting that.
Okay.
I'm leaving.
You gotta do your. It was a dark and stormy night.
Yeah, it was a dark and stormy night when this all happened, okay?
Nah.
Okay, fine. He also hated his grandmother's house. It was boring and there was never anything to do. The place was stuffed with old books and creepy statues. The beds were lumpy and uncomfortable, and she didn't even have electricity, and every room was lit by candles. The thing that he hated the most of all was the stuffed dog that his grandmother kept in the library. She said that it was her husband's dog, and that it had stood by him always. So when the dog died, she had it stuffed and placed in her husband's favorite room, the library. Whenever Theodore saw the stuffed dog, it creeped him out. He couldn't even stand the sight of it. The wretched thing made his skin crawl with its snarling, evil face, its beady, glassy eyes, and its mangy, greasy fur. That night, though, when his grandmother was going to bed, she wanted to light the candles in her room, and she couldn't find any matches. So she asked Theodore to go downstairs and find some. Theodore gritted his teeth and swallowed his anger. He was irritated by all the chores she was asking him to do. He walked downstairs and went into the library. It was dark, and he searched through the cupboards and the drawers, and eventually he found the matches. Just then, he thought he heard this strange sound, like it sounded like a low growl. Theodore turned and looked and stuffed dog in the corner. The dog was staring back at him with his glassy eyes. He hated that dog. It bugged him so much that he thought of a way to get back at it. So he struck one of the matches and shoved it in the dog's face, burning off its whiskers. Theodore's grandmother heard a terrible scream. She ran downstairs and rushed into the library. Theodore laid sprawled on the ground. His eyes were open and his face twisted in a look of terror. He was dead. She immediately called the police, and later the ambulance carried him off. She looked and she shook her head sadly and said, "He looks just like my husband when he died." Unseen by anyone, in the darkness of the library, the stuffed dog sat very still, and there was a trickle of blood dripping down from his mouth. Roar! That scary?
No.
That's scary. Thank you, thank you.
It was a dark and stormy night.
No, it wasn't. A young woman walks into a bar late at night. She had just gotten off from the temp agency where she works. It had been a long night, and she was looking forward to a glass of wine and maybe to indulge in some buffalo wings. She knew it was a weird combo, but something about the sweet taste of sangria and the sharp spice of buffalo sauce really brought out the best in both for her. The bar was empty. It was too late for the locals, and spring break had ended a few weeks ago. She saunters over to the counter, and the bartender looks up from the glass he was cleaning. She thought he was charming and had a nice smile. She talked to him a little before ordering. Small talk about what a crazy day it was, and I can't wait till fall comes back around. Deciding she didn't want to be lonely, she invited him to join her. He agreed, and quickly came back with 2 plates. She had fun, but felt it wasn't going anywhere. She thanked him for a good time and paid her tab. Walking to her car, she felt a bit uneasy, like someone was watching her. But when she looked around, nobody was there. She picked up the pace to her car, but just when her hand reached the handle, she felt something heavy hit her in the back of the head. She wakes up with a start, and her head is throbbing. She looks around in a panic, but all she can see is darkness. Her voice echoes off the walls as she starts screaming for help, and she fumbles around in the dark, her footsteps sending shivers up her spine as they too echo around her. Her throat goes hoarse as she runs her hands on the walls looking for a way out, tripping on something on the ground. She tries to calm down and explore her surroundings. The walls feel like they are made with brick, and whatever her feet are touching is evenly spaced, like some kind of rails. She realizes she is in a tunnel for a train or a subway. She strains her ears to hear, but she only hears her own breathing in the silence beyond. Knowing this place must be abandoned, she tries to think where she could be. There was a subway, but no part she knew of that was abandoned. Suddenly, she remembers she owns a cell phone. Cursing at herself for her stupidity, she reaches for her pockets, only to find them empty. Whoever had knocked her out had cleaned her out. She shivered in disgust at the thought and continued walking. She walked for hours, fumbling in the dark, searching for something, anything, to indicate an exit. Suddenly, her hand brushed against what felt like a sign on the wall. Her heart thudded as she traced the words "emergency exit" with her fingers. There was an arrow pointing forward. Excitedly, she raced forward, keeping her hand on the wall, being careful not to trip on the track. Suddenly, she smacks headlong into a wall. She rubs her head, wincing at the rapidly forming new bump on her forehead. When she finally composes herself, she traces the new obstacle in front of her. It felt like brick, but it was newer, less crumbly to the touch. She felt the panic rising again. Whoever had brought her here obviously didn't want her to leave. She pushed and kicked at the wall, but it didn't budge. Tears stinging her eyes as she realized the hopelessness of her situation, she slumped down to the ground defeated. How long before she ran out of air? She was sure that wouldn't be a problem in this large tunnel, but there was no food or water, no chance of rescue. All she could do was keep searching for an exit. She stood up again, determined to continue. Creeping in the dark, her footsteps her only constant companion. Meanwhile, back at the bar, the bartender looks up from his camera monitors and lowers the cover, and a woman walks into the bar. The end. Oh. Scary.
I don't get it.
I'm lost.
How are you lost?
It doesn't make any sense.
I'm so confused.
I'm with Eva. Do you get it, Monica?
The bartender was the bad guy.
How?
Obviously. What do you mean how?
What do you
But
do?
he's saying that when he looks at his camera monitors, you mean that there's camera monitors watching this girl?
Yes.
Well, it just sounds a little like he's just watching the camera from the bar. But I got what you were saying. You're saying like he's watching her basically die while another girl is walking into the bar. So it's like a repeating of the story.
Oh.
So like every time a girl walks, or like, you know, it's the next victim.
It reads better than it sounds, but...
I got it. I got it.
I wrote that.
Good job.
I wrote it during work, so.
Okay, so now that we are done with telling those stories, we are taking a quick break and eating these Halloween classics, Blueberry and Count Chocula. This is for, again, my other idea, but we never got around to it, so I need to eat these before Halloween come and goes. By the way, did your parents ever buy these for you? Mine didn't. Did yours, Joe?
No.
I think once. Actually, those two cereals, the Blueberry and the Count Chocolate.
I remember asking my mom to buy me the...
There was a Frankenberry.
Or maybe a Blueberry. I don't know. But she was like, no.
Now.
We don't buy things with ghosts on them.
Now look at us.
I think there was
And I
a
just wanted
Frankenberry.
to... Oh yeah, there was one. I just want to try it. It's okay. I mean, it's like a typical children's...
The blueberry one's worth that. It's good. It really tastes like blueberries.
Too much like Fruit Loops.
I like it. No, it's not like Fruit Loops. I don't like Fruit Loops. Those are so much better. Anyways, so now that we have told our stories, who do you guys think told the best story? I think Monica did. Told the best one. Monica.
I was between you and Monica.
Yeah.
Definitely, Monica. Definitely.
Well, those are the votes.
Well, the only thing that you get on me is that someone actually died. Mine was more mysterious.
Yeah.
I like mysteries.
But what do your viewers think?
Well, I mean, you were even saying that when we were like in between takes that like this kind of reminded you of like the old stories that used to be told around the fire when we were growing up.
Yeah,
at hunting camp.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Like, we had some really good stories back then. Just ones that we would tell to our friends, and I really couldn't like remember what they were. But Adam sparked a memory.
I did.
Yeah, it was about the spiders.
Which, why, like, where did the spider thing come from?
My idea was to make it up as I go. So I just started talking.
Well, we currently are watching Harry Potter.
True.
And I think the fear of tarantulas became real.
I just remember, like, at hunting camp, like, growing up, Monica and I, like, went to our family's hunting camp, and my dad would always tell the story of a insane asylum down the street, and one of the guys escaped, and he is around these woods somewhere, and it used to keep me up all night, and I used to be so afraid to walk back to my camper, and then for a while I'm like, oh, it's not real, whatever, and I found out there really was an insane asylum down the street, so he wasn't lying. Well, he was lying, but not about that.
Totally creeped us out.
Yeah.
Mine was more, I remember being told this story of this girl that had like, almost looked like a scab or a pimple or something on her face. And it kept on getting bigger and bigger, and like someone even went, like she went to the doctor and had it checked out, but they said, oh, it'll go away. Well, she goes home and it got so bad and so big and it started to hurt. So she decided to pick it, and spiders came out.
Oh my god. I was gonna die.
That's gross.
I'm sorry. That's one of the stories that was told to me, and it came to my mind when he talked about tarantulas.
Oh my gosh. So, question for you, my friends. What is your favorite campfire or a spooky story that you remember growing up? Leave those comments down below, and we would love to read them. Like this video if it was your jam, as well as share to all your friends who love some spooktacular stories. Subscribe to our channel, to my channel, if you haven't already, and make sure to ring the bell for any notifications of any videos that I upload on this channel. That is all the time that we have for today, guys. We are gonna keep munching down on our cereal and keep hanging out for the rest of the night. Hope you guys have a wonderful and safe Halloween, and until next time, we will see you when we're looking at you. All right, bye guys.
Maybe, I don't know.
Ooh.
there was a girl born named Eva. It's the scariest story of all. The end.
Wait, I wanna do one. Hold on. Okay. There once was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly, everyone died. The end.
That story sucks.
It's okay. I don't like scary things, so if you don't like scary things, you're cool too. She just spit milk out of her mouth.
That's real scary.
Don't choke. See you soon. Bye.